Hey guys, thanks for watching today's video. Today we're going to talk about parallel lines and their equations. This is a really important video. It's one you'll see on the SAT, the ACT, any kinds of practice tests you take like that, standardized testing. They really like to quiz you on this. It's a really important idea. So parallel lines, they're lines that never touch. And so for lines to never touch, there's one thing that has to be true, and it's that their slopes have to be the exact same. And I just really want to get this in your head, like why this is. So for a line to never touch, that means that no matter if I extend it forever and ever, the two lines will never touch. And if you watch, even if these slopes are similar, so they're both positive, they're both pretty large, but eventually they're going to touch like somewhere way up here, I don't know, maybe here or something. So they would touch pretty early. So the only way that two lines are never going to touch is if they have the exact same slope. Something like this. We'll pretend that these are parallel. And that's the symbol to show parallel. It's these little arrowheads on the lines. So that's the only way lines will never touch. And that's why they're important. Because they'll never touch, they have to have the same slope. So that's how we're able to tell, okay, so do I have another parallel line? Things like that. Another important thing is they must have a different y-intercept. So same slope and different y-intercept. And if you think about it for a second, it's pretty obvious why. Because if they were the same slope and the same y-intercept, and if you're looking at that slope formula, y equals mx plus b, if they did have the same slope and the same y-intercept, they would be the exact same line. So that's why you have to have a different y-intercept, or else you'd be right on top of each other and they'd be touching at every single point instead of never. So yeah, you have to remember the basic form of a line, y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. B is just where it touches the y-axis there, and for this one it'd be there. Okay, so let's get into some practice here. Remember, this is a really important topic, so hopefully this comes quickly to you and hopefully this makes sense. Find the slope of the line parallel to the line 4x minus 5y equals 12. Well, what we just said is that for lines to be parallel, they have to have the same slope. So if I'm looking for the slope of a line parallel to this line, I can just find the slope of this line that I'm given. And when I see it, it doesn't look like y equals mx plus b. So I need to do whatever I can to make it look like this, because this is what I want. So this is the slope, that m value. That's what I need to find, and right now it's not in the form that I need it to be in. So I need to get y by itself. So for me, I'm personally going to bring the 5y over to this side so I can keep it positive. I don't like dividing by negatives if I don't have to. So I'm going to get 4x equals 12 plus 5y. Okay, now I'm going to bring the 12 over and I'm going to change the sign, so bring the 5y to the other side. So y equals 4x minus 12. Okay, and now I'm going to divide by everything by 5. If I divide one side, I have to divide the other. So y equals, now I'm going to do each one at a time, so 4/5 x minus 12 divided by 5. And I want the slope of a line that's perpendicular to this. Well, that has to be 4/5 because it has to be the slope of this line. So the slope has to be 4/5 if it's going to be parallel. I think I said perpendicular. I meant to say parallel. So slope equals 4/5. So that's the slope of a parallel line to that. Hopefully that makes sense. And hopefully you notice that if the intercept of the parallel line would have to not be 12/5. It can be anything else. It could be 2. It could be 11/5. It could be 11.9/5. It just can't be 12/5 or negative 12/5 because then it would be the exact same. So on to the next one. What is the equation of a line parallel to y equals negative 4x plus 5 and it passes through the point 6, negative 3? So a little bit different of a problem this time. So we want the equation of a line that's parallel to this one. And so instantly we can think about, okay, if it's parallel to that one, what must be true? Well, the slope of our line must equal the slope of this line, which is that m value has to be negative 4. And then I'm also given, so let's just write out what I have right now. I know that y equals negative 4x plus b. I don't know what b is. B can really be anything based on so far just what is the equation of a line parallel. Well, that, but then now the restriction is that it has to pass through the point 6, negative 3. And what that does is that gives us something to test so I can find that b value. So you can plug in this x and y into our new equation right here, and we can do negative 3 equals negative 4 times 6 plus b. Okay, so now I can multiply everything out and just solve for b. So negative 3 equals negative 4 times 6 is negative 24 plus b. Add 24 to both sides. we get 21 equals b. So the equation of the line that goes through the point and is parallel is negative 4x plus 21. And a quick way to check our work is, well, it has to be parallel and it has to go through the point 6,3. Well, we already know it's parallel just by looking at it, right? Because it has the slope of negative 4. So that's like a check. We know it's parallel. But now, again, what if I wasn't feeling too good about this problem? I want to make sure it passes through the point 6,3. Well, I'm going to plug 6,3 back into this guy and make sure that it works. So I'm going to do negative 3 equals negative 4 times, well, actually I would just say y, and I want my y to be negative 3. So y equals negative 4 times 6 plus 21, and that'd be y equals negative 24 plus 21. That's y equals negative 3. Well, that's what y should equal because that's what's right here. So y equals negative 3, we're good to go. We got the right answer. It's always good to check your work if you can. Here, for these types of problems, you can check your work and know 100% of the time that you got it right by plugging the point back into the new parallel line and looking to make sure the m values of the slope are the same. All right, so last one that we're going to do in today's video, find the equation of a line that passes through the point negative 6, 5, parallel to the line 3x minus 5y equals 9. So it's kind of combining with things that we've just worked on. We have to first get the equation of the original line, find the slope of that, and then use the point that we have to get the equation of the parallel line. So I would recommend pausing the video here, doing the practice on your own, and then looking back and seeing if you did it the way I did it. But let's get right into it. So 3x minus 5y equals 9. If I'm trying to find a parallel line, my first step is to find the slope of the original because I know that has to be the slope of the new one. So 3x equals 9 plus 5y. I'm going to subtract the 9 to the other side. I get 3x minus 9 equals 5y. I'm going to switch the order and divide by 5. Switch sides, I should say, just because I like to have my y first. So it's going to be y equals 3/5 x minus 9 over 5. That looks good. Okay, so the slope of my new one I know has to be 3/5. So right now I have y equals 3/5 x plus b, and I don't know what b is yet, but that's where I use this point right here. I plug that one in for y and x, and that helps me solve for b. So now I get 5 equals 3/5 times negative 6 plus b. So 5 equals, well, remember it's basically negative 6 over 1. When we multiply fractions, we multiply straight across. So we're going to get negative 18 divided by 5 plus b. And now, since this is basically negative, I would add that to the other side. So add 18/5, so add 18/5. Quick review of adding fractions. Now we have 5 over 1 plus 18 over 5. To add fractions, you have to get a common denominator. That common denominator should be 5, so I need to multiply this one by 5 over 5. I turn this equation into 25 over 5 plus 18 over 5. What's 25 plus 18? Well, it's 43 divided by 5, and that equals b. So 43 divided by 5 equals b. And now finally I have the equation of my entire line. I'll write that over here. Y equals 3/5 x plus 43 over 5, because that's my b value. And that will satisfy that it is a parallel to this line, and it goes through the point negative 6, 5. And if you were to plug negative 6 in for x, you should get 5 for the y. If you want to, I recommend this actually. Plug it in on your own, make sure it works out. So hopefully that makes sense. The key here is really just knowing that a parallel line has to have the same slope and a different y-intercept. And then knowing the strategies of, if you're given a point, you can plug that into the equation you have to help you find b. That's really important too. That's something a lot of students can have trouble with at first. So hopefully that makes sense. Let me know if you have any questions, and thanks for watching today.